You said
I would just like to take this time to thank the parents, the teachers, for putting up with changing their schedules and rearranging their times so I could fit our program into our classrooms here at Ferndale. I'd like to thank our school board for allowing me the opportunity to do this, along with our supervisors, our police department, because I truly believe this is an outstanding program to help your kids resist drugs and violence. Dr. Kendall talked about a lot of things that are happening or do happen in our DARE program. She kind of summed up a lot of them. We don't just talk about drugs. We talk about other things such as peer pressure, self-esteem, some of the things that they'll be facing when they move on to middle school, high school, even college. We do talk about drugs, though. We talk about the effects of drugs. We talk about how these drugs will affect their body, how they will affect their lives, not only theirs, but their families. We talk about the changes it will make in their lives and how it will lead to eroded destruction. There's nothing that ever happens from drugs that is a positive when we're talking about illegal drugs. So it's something to think about. We also talked about, like I said, peer pressure, some of the things that they'll be facing. Because they were told that when it comes to drugs and making that offer, it's not going to be a stranger, it's probably going to be one of their friends. It could be someone sitting right here, offering them maybe to smoke, to drink, do something like that. But we also talk about violence. As you know, violence is all around us. All you have to do is read the paper, listen to the news. Everywhere you turn, there's violence. Hopefully this fifth grade class, along with all the other graduating fifth grade classes in our school district, they can make a change. They can stand up for what they believe in, knowing that violence is wrong, knowing drugs are wrong. Some of the other things we do in DARE is actually that each student has to read an essay. Now, this is probably one of the most important classes we have. Each student writes their essay on what they feel about the DARE program, and they also have to read it out loud in front of their class. So it is a very important lesson that we do have that they have to complete in order to graduate. We have two representatives, one from each class. We have Jenna from this accounting class, and we have Odie from Mrs. Orange's class. Would you please come forward?
I'm sure that most of you feel that DARE is just about alcohol and drugs. It really isn't though. It's also about violence. I don't know about you, but I think that most of us are more likely to use violence than drugs. Since it's not just about drugs and alcohol, but violence too, DARE will help us even more. We know that drugs, alcohol, and violence can bring pressure on us. Pressure to use them. Pressure is not going to do us any good in fifth grade. At this age, a lot of us get asked to smoke or drink. And if you do get asked to smoke or drink and not tell anyone that you did, then that can put more pressure on you. And if you do get asked, then just say no. Speaking of no, here is another thing that can help. In DARE, we learn 8 ways to say no. I'm not going to say them all, but just my favorite one, the broken record. It's when you just keep saying no, no, and no. I've learned a lot in DARE that can help me stay drug and violence free, like the 8 ways to say no, for example. We have also learned the peer pressures. There are 4 kinds: friendly, teasing, indirect, and heavy. Those are the pressures we would get most often in middle and high school. About violence now. To avoid violence, what I would do is just walk away. But not all people do that. That is how people get into fights. I think it is very important to stay drug and violence free. If you stay drug free, you can live a long and healthy life. If you stay violence free, you can live a good life and probably a longer one. If you don't say drug-free, you could live a short, very unhealthy life. If you don't say violence-free, you could live just a short life. So please stay drug and violence-free for your own safety and health. DARE has taught me a lot. Most of these things I've spoken to you about I didn't even know until DARE. So thanks.
My goal in life is to invent. I've always wanted to invent something, either now while I'm a kid, or maybe when I'm a teen or an adult. Once when I was younger, my brother and I got a radio. It had no battery, so instead of plugging it in, we decided to use the power of our Game Boy. Since they couldn't connect, we got metal hangers and other metal objects. We connected the metal items. I turned on the Game Boy and the radio went on also. Both of us were very surprised to see it turn on. It was only on for about 2 seconds. I think the problem was the little battery of the Game Boy could not hold up against the much-needed power of the radio. That's one of my goals in life. A few things that could help me achieve my goal are staying in school and learning mechanical and mechanical skills. Another is being taught how to use a wide variety of tools in building art. One thing that can stop me from reaching my goals is drugs. By taking drugs, I could get expelled from school and not have enough education to get a good job. Drugs can also change the person that I am. I risk losing my friends and the trust of my family. They can also ruin all my chances of reaching my goal and other goals I may have in the future. Most importantly, drugs could cost me my life. That is how drugs could stop my dreams from coming true. Something I would really want to thank is DARE. DARE has helped me so much by showing me how bad drugs are in my health. I have been taught how to refuse drugs. I have also been taught not to use guns or to graffiti city walls. DARE has showed me what can really happen when you take drugs. DARE taught me a lot of helpful things. Thanks to DARE, I'll never do drugs.
First, Alicia Bruno, Matthew Callan, Chelsea Engelard, Michael Flanagan, Cody Flower, TJ Masters, Justin Metzler, James Miller, and Victoria Palazzo. Raymond Root, Shelby Tonsky, and Katrina Witter. The next group is going to be from Ms. Northrum.
Dale Chiswick, Hal Collins. Oh, yes.
Part of school all day, get late today, it's a really tough question, but what do you think of the weather today? Nice, yeah. Everything's good like that, kind of has an opposite, doesn't it? So, is there anybody here that really would prefer a cold, dreary, dark, damp, cold, miserable, wet, slimy day? Is there anybody that really likes that? Jeez. Well, you know, there's a similarity there with this drugs and alcohol and violence and crime, you know, all of these bad things going in the world. And it seems so simple, doesn't it? You like good sunny days and not nasty days. And here you look forward to your own life, and unfortunately the statistics say that some of you will end up for your life picking this dreary, dark, rainy, cold, nasty, you know, kind of a situation because you get involved with drugs or alcohol or all this. It seems so clear, the choice, and if it's so clear, how come people mess up? You know, it's really difficult thing to understand about all of us as human beings, why we get into messes that we do and why we think the way they do. But I think sometimes we have to make things just real simple and stand back and say, hey, things are clear. Making the right decision really is easier than a lot of people make it out as, you know, bright sunny day or a, you know, cold one. So just, you know, be thinking throughout your life, keep things in perspective about drugs and alcohol. We're very proud. The school district and the school board, and, you know, the police department is here. The entire government of Mill Creek Township, you know, came. All three supervisors that head our government all came to Bernadale today for one reason: you, each one of you, because you are so important. So this community loves you, it values you, and we're really worried that some people are going to try and push all of this junk, all of the bad weather stuff, down on top of your life. I'm really pleased. I can't believe 100% return from every family in the 5th grade at Bernadale School on the random drug and alcohol testing thing. I hope when you talk with your family about that you decided to sign up for it. If you didn't make that decision, you can at a future date. But the reason that's so important is because it's a vote for sunny days. And that's a vote for the right thing. So you can test me right now, anytime you want. I'll be drug and alcohol free. You can bet on it all the way through middle school and all the way through high school. So that's really impressive. It seems like there's always, you know, some people that, you know, don't get it done or don't want to make the decision, don't return back. We're 100% A+ for Bernadale School. So we're very proud of you and congratulations.
I didn't know that. This is the last year that I'll be a Mill Creek Township Supervisor. It's the end of my second term, and the terms are 6 years long. So this is my 12th year, and it's the last time that I'll be in school for a beer ceremony. You know, one thing I like when I sit there, I like to look at these athletic boards here. You know, some of the girls are really putting their hoods on these boards. I noticed that. Better watch out there. But I want to let you know that in all 12 years, I have never missed a beer ceremony. I had to change surgery I was having. I had to change a major trip I was going on. And I remember one year, Supervisor Brian McGrath had planned a vacation. He came home from that vacation just to come to the beer ceremony at Asbury School. And I tell you that, my counting is all off because I'm trying to figure out how many we have a year because the different times we have them and how far along they're on the year. But I think this is my 83rd beer ceremony. And I tell you this because I want you to know that I think it's that important that I would change anything I could to be here for you. And how many of you like Officer Forcier? Raise your hand if you like him. You don't need to raise your hand if you don't, and he won't be back. We like him too, and that's one reason why he was chosen as their officer, because he's a very good person, and young people really like it too, and it's a dad. But you know, Officer Forcier puts a lot of his time into the DARE program that he doesn't get paid for. He has extra hours where he puts class lessons together, just different things he does during the year. And he does DARE because he really enjoys it, and he really believes that he can make a difference in your life. And I know that he can. And I want you to think about two things. First of all, I have one child who just graduated from college and one who is going to graduate. And when you kids go to college someday, I shouldn't call you kids, I should call you young people. When young people go to college someday, on the form where you apply to go to college, it asks you if you've ever been arrested for drugs. And they check that, see if you're telling the truth. And if you have been, you need certain money to go to college. Most people can't come up with all the money on their own, it's very expensive. So the state of Pennsylvania, even if you go to school someplace else, and the federal government gives you these loans. And these loans are a real good deal because you don't have to start paying them back until you get out of college and get a job. So you need that money in order to be able to go to college, and they have the right to refuse to give you that money, loan you that money, if you have to answer yes on that form that you've been arrested for drugs. So that could actually make it so that you don't go to college someday, and that's a pretty serious thing. And with regard to Officer Wayne here, if you ever do get arrested for drugs and you come into our police department, and I see this happen, or alcohol, or some kind of violence that he's got involved in, he'll think it because he's in there all day. And that would be terrible because his feelings would be so hurt. He'll be thinking that either you didn't listen to anything he said, or you just didn't care about what he said and you didn't think it was important. So anytime you think about doing something that you know you shouldn't do in relation to alcohol, drugs, peer pressure, violence, please think about what you'll feel like if you have to come face to face with him when you come in the police department, because that will happen. And just that alone should be enough to stop you. Plus the fact that it would hurt your parents and your family very much. I want to thank you for what you've done. I'm real proud of all these young people. I'll miss coming back here again, but I'll always be a person who fights to keep DARE in the Mill Creek Township budget, even when I'm not a Mill Creek Township supervisor, because I think that is that important. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown. I'd just like in closing to thank our fourth graders for coming today, fourth grade teachers for allowing them. Fourth graders, you have some big shoes to fill. This is an outstanding fifth grade class. I look forward to working with you guys next year. For our fifth graders, the road ahead of you can be a very smooth one, taking the right path, or it can be a very rocky one and bumpy one. Whatever you choose, it's up to you. Like we talked about in DARE, your parents won't be there, your teachers, myself, your older brothers or sisters. You're the one that's going to have to make that decision when the time comes where someone's either asking you to do drugs, whether it's smoking or drinking or maybe an act of violence. You're the one that has to make that decision. You know your ways to say no, you know your peer pressure, you know they're going to put it on you. It's up to you to make the right decision. Turn yourself away and get out of there. Right now, I'd like you guys to reach down and get your packets and take your shirts out. Guys, put them on. And have them on, make them hand out and face your parents. Parents, you can stick around. We do have some cookies and punch. Fourth grade, you are dismissed. Thank you for coming.